observations around during COVID-19. Over the last few days, we have been flooded by webinars. It is the webinar season. Webinars on economy, lifestyle, homemade objects, how to stay happy, so on and so forth. You'll wonder what is unique about today's webinar. Well, I'll tell you what, Vikram has designed today's webinar in such a way that it ensures maximum participation from all of us and keep us all involved throughout the show. I hope all of you will follow our instructions of logging in to Zoom through your desktops or laptops or tablets and have kept your phones handy. I think for further instructions, Vikram would of course guide you. But before that, I would like to share a few things about Vikram. Vikram is an experiential educator, positive psychology, communications and executive coach, keynote speaker, musician, martial artist, security professional, adventurer and actor. He has been using experiential methods of education since the nascent stages of experiential methodology in India. But Vikram has worked across industries in the last 2 decades, using business, experiential and holistic methodologies in the space of organizational development, executive coaching and building sustainable models of transformation at a personal, team and organizational level. So without taking much time, I would pass it over to Vikram. Over to Vikram now.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very, very happy Bihu, a happy Puthandu, a happy Baisakhi. This is festive time, and so ironical, we are all sitting at home and not being able to spend time with our friends, but thank God for technology. Yeah, thank God for technology. This is quite interesting for me because as an educator for the last 20 years, I really feel that, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. So one-on-one learning and sharing always works for me, but well, new times, fantastic times, strange times, and new technologies. So well, moving on. So today's topic is really about observations around us during COVID-19. Before we move on, what I'd like you all to do is, if you have 2 devices, which is one laptop and one mobile, then on the laptop you should log into your Zoom, which is where you will be able to see this presentation. On your phones, go to menti.com, menti.com, and use the code that you see on the screen. So the code is 777692. I will repeat it. Go to menti.com and use the code 777692. Yeah, as soon as you log in, you will see a little, you'll see a little heart which comes over here. Yeah, just click on that heart. Somebody already has, yeah, to let me know that you are logged in. Awesome, awesome. I see 14 people have logged in, 15, 17, 18. That's lovely. That's lovely. Just log in, and so that I know that all of you are there while I take a sip of my coffee. Okay, great. Anyone else that needs to log in, go to menti.com on your phone, on your phone, and type the code 777692. Mentimeter is a fantastic interactive presentation tool where whenever we ask you questions, you enter the answer on your phone, and then when you look at your Zoom screen, you will see the collective answers coming in over there, and you will be able to record the data. All right. So just really talking about, before we really move on, one of the things that I have been fascinated with for as long as I can remember is to really observe how human behavior functions. And I've noticed that human behavior always mostly functions in patterns. Yeah, so since the time this lockdown happened, I have sat down, I've spoken to over 150 odd people, speaking to them about how they are feeling, what are they going through, what are the what are the good things which have come out of what are the good things that have come out of the lockdown, where are the frustrations, what is it that is not working out, and so on and so forth. So I actually collated a little bit of data on to share with each one of us some stuff that we'll be going around collectively, that we are experiencing collectively, in our lives. Yeah, so just moving on, I move on to a little bit of introduction to what I do. I run a learning and development organization called Syngrity. We are based out of Delhi. We work across the world. I work with organizations in the space of positive psychology. I help them. We work with psychometric tests, talk about personal strengths of people and their possible blind spots. We talk about innovation mindsets. I work as a communications coach, which is one of my core skills. I've been doing this for over 21 years. We organize a lot of online and virtual classrooms based around communication, based around coaching, and we do a lot of experiential interventions. We do a lot of experiential interventions and do expedition style leadership programs. We've taken people to the Annapurna base camp. We've taken people to the Tons River. We've made people raft the craziest river in the world in Zimbabwe, which is called the Zambezi. And so all kinds of very, very interesting stuff that we end up doing. But that's a little bit about myself. Some of you have already met up with me at various forums. So all of you know about a little bit of the work that I do. All right. So I have my first question for you. Now, if you look at your phone where you logged on to menti.com, yeah, there'll be a question. Are you enjoying the online webinar world? And you'll be given 4 options. Yeah, please click on them. One person said, can we move on? Awesome. And if you look at your Zoom screen, you will be able to see the results, So 18 people said, I'm enjoying the online connections. 4 people say, I'm not enjoying the online world. 4 people are indifferent. 2 people are like, hey, can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So, and please understand that your responses are completely anonymous. So I'm not going to get after those 2 people who are going to say, can we move on? Yeah, so 29 people have answered. 29 people have answered the question. Yeah, we just wait for another 10 seconds before we move on to now this is one of the observations that I've really had about this lockdown, of this wonderful interactive world which has opened up. I'm able to actually reach out to a lot more people, and I'm sure you have also been able to reach out to a lot more people. Suddenly we noticed video calls have gone up. We want to see the friends, we want to see our friends, we want to see our colleagues, and so on and so forth. I also see that one person has asked a question, and we'll try to answer it later. So I'm going to close that screen. Okay, so moving on. So what is this webinar really about? When Hamad and Varun from Delhi and Hamad and Sandeep from the Guwahati chapter and I got talking, one of the things that I realized that all the webinars which have been happening, and I've been attending a lot of this YI and the CII webinars, almost one per day. And these days there is variety because you can really pick and choose what you are, what you want to attend. But nowhere did I really see that, we were not talking about our feelings. All of us are functioning in a space of, we were in a thriving zone till 2 months back. We are back into a survival mode. Things are tough. Things are tough. And a lot of us are just working. We are working in the survival space. We are working in a space of trying to just keep afloat at many levels. And I've been talking to some, established businessmen. Even they are saying, that their cash flow is going to finish in the next 1.5 months. And it's going to be, it's tough. Yeah, so, well, the lockdown has been increased today to 3rd of May. It's tough time. Yeah, so please stay home, please stay safe. This webinar is interactive. So, I also heard a lot of people just switch on the webinar and then go about their work. We need you to answer. We need you to interact with us. So, so please don't miss out on that chance. Before the webinar started, I was talking to a few people who were there who had already logged in. And I was talking about that human behavior really essentially works in patterns. And it's very easy to be able to join dots to say that this is happening and hence I'm feeling this and hence I will do this and hence I'm going to do this. So in this interactive webinar, the whole idea is to be able to join these behavioral dots and see what is in it for us and how are we feeling. It's extremely important for us to know how we are feeling and to be able to acknowledge our emotions, because otherwise we will burn out. Otherwise, it's also as professionals, as business people, as men and women of independent, this wonderful world that we are in, we've also learned to hide our emotions. And that is why whenever those emotions have to come out, they actually come out with, in a burst, and with anger. You hear of domestic violence going up, and you hear of all kinds of stuff which is happening around. And that needs to, we need to acknowledge these. We need to understand if we are the ones who are on the receiving end. We need to understand how can we stop this. If we are the ones who are finding it difficult to really work on controlling our emotions, there are various things that we need to be able to do. All right, so just moving on. So how do you feel during COVID-19? Please go onto your phones. Yeah, the ones who have not logged in, go on to menti.com on your phones, use the code 777-692, and then you can answer these questions that we are asking. Yeah. And if you look at your Zoom shared screen, you will see all kinds of bubbles happening everywhere. It's really nice. You can choose up to 3 options. So what's happening is 15% of the people who are logged in, they feel safe. 25%, well, there's 17 people. Okay, so there are some more people answering. That's brilliant. Okay, so 18 people feel safe, that they're safe at home, 17% now. 22% of the people feel they are stuck at home and they would rather get out. Yeah. 17% of the people, or 18% of the people now are at peace. 22% are functioning in a space of confusion. 6%, and that's actually not a bad number. Only 5% people are grieving, and 14% of the people are scared and frightened. Now, please understand one thing, that if you are frightened, if you are grieving, if you are confused, if you are stuck, please do not deny yourself these emotions. Yeah, we do not have to be Herculean in our approach. We do not have to be Herculean at all. Yeah, if we are feeling stuck, can we allow ourselves to remain in that moment and acknowledge the fact that we are stuck, we are confused, we are grieving, and we are scared. All of us are scared. I'm surprised only 13% of the people say they're scared, or 13% of the responses. We all are scared. We don't know what's going to happen going forward. We do not know the course of this disease. Everything is a mystery on a daily basis. So yeah, and I'm so glad that people are saying that they feel safe at home, which we all do. It's lovely. It's also nice to be in acceptance, so we are at peace, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I see questions coming up. I'm going to answer these questions later on. Yeah, so just moving on. So, like I said, a lot of us are feeling safe at home. You would be going through a myriad of emotions. So there will be, initially like, what the hell am I doing here? How much will I sleep? Oh my God, I don't know how to deal with my kids. My kids are shouting. My kids are looking for my attention all the time. Now you are with each other 24 hours a day. We have seen a surge of human compassion, and I can't tell you how beautiful it is to see that. I'll give you a small example. I run a security organization where we provide manpower security to people, and we've just realized that there were so many of our clients who came forward and said, okay, we will give a place to your guards to sleep. We will give them meals, and it was fantastic to be able to see this. A lot of our clients said, okay, please remove your guards, but we will pay you for the entire time so that you can pay the salaries to the guards. And that says a lot. That says a lot. I think we are extremely grateful to all these people and all of you. And I'm sure you have gone out of your way to be supportive to your staff, to your employees, to your friends, to your family. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful space. So can I just request you all to very, very quickly take your right hand and please pat yourselves on your back. Yeah, can we please do that? Awesome, awesome. We've also seen a surge of human selfishness, and it comes essentially from the fact that from a thriving space, we've gone into a survival space. It's really come down to, if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we've really come down to our basic needs of roti, kapda, and makan, of our basic needs being met or not met. We've also realized that we can't take everything for granted. Yeah, we can't take our families for granted. We can't take our friends for granted. We can't take our colleagues for granted. We can't take the government for granted. We cannot take our industry for granted. We cannot, and we definitely cannot take nature for granted. And we have done that. We have done that. I was reading a report 2 days back where they said that the water in the Ganga around Hardwar and Rishikesh has become drinkable. Can you believe that? That is like one of the most fantastic things that can really happen is people being able to drink the water in the Ganga. Yeah. All of us are also experiencing the benefits of working from home. You know, for most of us who are in the service industry and so on and so forth, it's not impossible. Yes, the manufacturing units are suffering. The plants, the organizations which need manpower, they are suffering a bit. I was attending a YI seminar yesterday, and there was this gentleman from Bombay who was saying that this is going to last for at least 9 months. Yeah, so you know, if you survive this, you will thrive this. Yeah. One of the things that we have also seen is, do we need, you know, your 5 cars at home? If you have 5 cars at home, if you have 2 houses, and if you have 5 telephones and you have 10 televisions, um, they're useless at many levels. Yeah, you're all stuck in, you're all at home, you're in one space. Life has changed. Life has changed. We do not need a super lavish lifestyle to survive. Uh, I'm falling in love with dal. Yeah, because I'm an army kid, so my father was posted across the country when he was alive. And one of the things that I have always detested has been dal, because it's never liked the dal. But for all the states that I've lived in, for the last 10 days, I've just been mixing and matching recipes and saying, okay, you know, let's enjoy the dal. There is a lot of anxiety which is happening. There's a lot of people are anxious. A lot of people who are not able to hold on to their emotions. They're, you know, and it's a tough situation. Everyone is, and what we really require is a lot of sensitivity and sensitivity towards each others as humans, and especially our family members. A lot of the working people, your spouses, your spouses, they may be men or women who are homemakers. Suddenly they have to go through a lot of distress of trying to constantly churn out dishes and trying to keep everyone happy, you know, and it takes a toll. So please be kind. I have a simple, very genuine request to all of you. Please take time today in the evening to thank your spouses for taking care of the entire family during this time. Yeah, so please click on the little heart button on the Menti thing if you agree with this. Very good. Thank you very much. Please thank your spouses. Let's start at home. Yeah, please thank the help. Let's start at home, and a little bit of gratitude really goes a long way, because you know what you appreciate appreciates. Yeah, if you appreciate this love and affection which is coming your way, yeah, it's going to go a long way. It's very interesting that, you know, we've been reading reports of there's been a surge in domestic violence which has been going on. This has to stop. Please understand that we are in this together. It is a lot of it's tough times for us. So yes, sometimes our children are asking a lot of questions, and you know, they're constantly basically what I'm trying to say is that your me time has gone away. And if your me time has gone away, it can get really frustrating. It can get really upsetting. And so if you observe any domestic violence happening around you, please report it. Please ask people to go through counseling. Violence does not beat violence. And that is what my belief is. That is what the belief in positive psychology is. Violence does not beat violence. So please, just be cognizant of all these facts. Okay. This is a very, very interesting topic. There is a gentleman called David Kessler. David Kessler he's written a book called The Sixth Stage of Grief, yeah, where he talks about something called meaning. But before I get in over there, I'd like to introduce you to the work of a lady called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who wrote a book. I skipped one slide, I'll come back to it. Yeah, who wrote a book called Death and Dying in 1969. And she talks about the 5 stages of grief. Now, please understand that whenever grief is spoken of, and we've done a lot of extensive research on grief, I am going to ask my colleague Vipin, who's also on the call, to slowly start sharing links to some of the articles that we've written around stress and mental health and so on and so forth. But coming back, so Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote about death and dying, and she writes about 5 stages of grief when a person is dying. Yeah, I adapted it a bit and said, okay, let's talk about 5 stages of grief during a pandemic. So the first stage is called denial. It's you know, denial is a very interesting stage because it allows us to really survive a certain loss. And in this case, in this pandemic that we are a part of, the loss is not really, not, and God forbid it's death, but it could also be just a loss of identity, loss of purpose, loss of work, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people are functioning in the denial stage. Yeah. After the denial stage comes a very interesting stage of anger. Yeah. Now, anger, please understand that anger is not, it's a signal, it's signal that something is conflicting with us. Yeah, but it's a very necessary stage of the healing process. And that is why I said you have to allow yourself to feel angry, you have to allow yourself to feel sad, you have to allow yourself to feel the emotion that you are feeling and not run away from it, because the further you run away from an emotion, and the further it will stalk you. Yeah. The third stage of bargaining is really, in Hindi there is a word called mandwali. I learned this while I used to live in Maharashtra. Yeah, and bargaining is really the stage of mandwali. We're talking about physical distancing, social distancing. So we ask ourselves this question: okay, if I stay in till May 4th, till the Honorable Prime Minister has asked us to stay in, will this get over? Will my life come into will it come back to normal, and so on and so forth? Yeah, so that is a little bit of a bargaining that we try to do with ourselves. After this comes a very, very interesting space, because once you've been able to bargain, our attention really moves from squarely into the present. Empty feelings present themselves. Grief enters our lives on a deeper level, deeper than sometimes what we even imagined. This is where you feel completely pulled down, meaningless, and so on and so forth. But there is light at the end of the rainbow, because after the depression phase, comes a space of acceptance and saying, okay, this is happening. I need to survive. I need to figure this out. How do I proceed from here? Yeah, so this is a very interesting stage. Now, all these 5 stages were shared by, or were written by, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in Death and Dying in 1969. Yeah, David Kessler on the other side, who's written this. So Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and David Kessler co-authored in Death and Dying. And then David Kessler now has actually writes about, really, once you've reached a stage of acceptance, what is important is, what do you do about it? Because a lot of times we all stay in a stage of acceptance, but we are, we're not doing anything about it. We are still functioning in the space of the amygdala. Amygdala is that part of the brain, which is where the fight, flight, or the freeze syndrome happens. That is also when your adrenaline kicks in, and so on and so forth. But here is, what are you going to do forward? What, are you taking any steps to make a shift into your life, into your family's life, into your employees, into your workers, and so on and so forth? So David Kessler says, very interesting, and you can read it on your screen, but I will just read it out. We learn to replace cliches the next time we face a survivor and don't know what to say. Every person grieves in his or her own way, some with dry eyes, some with floods of tears. Don't hurry them through it. There is no greater gift you can give someone in grief than to ask them about their loved one and then truly listen. So please, that is why this is not a download. That is why this is an interactive presentation, because it's not only about what I have to say, it's really about you getting to speak, you getting to ask, you getting to acknowledge what you are going through. Yeah, so now I'm going to go back 2 slides and talk about anticipatory grief. David Kessler really talks about anticipatory grief. Now, this is the first time, people, this is the first time that we may be going through a collective grief as humanity, as one race. It's not country specific, it is not continent specific, it's not, it's not one region specific. All of us across the world are going through what is called anticipatory grief. I'm going to ask my colleague Vipin to share an article which came out in the Harvard Business Review in your chat, and please have a read at that whenever you can. Yeah, so anticipatory grief is that feeling we get about what the future holds when we are uncertain. And that is exactly what is happening. There was a global summit, which was a global huddle, which was organized 2 days back, which was moderated by Rahul Mirchandani in Bombay. There were speakers from across the world who were really talking about an uncertain future. They were talking about, we don't know what's going to happen to the travel industry, to the real estate industry, and so on and so forth. Yesterday, we were talking about SMEs, how SMEs are going to get affected. So yes, there is a lot of grief, and this grief is going to carry on for a little while. And this is the space from where you add meaning. Yeah, so it's really, really important that you add meaning over here. So continuing, usually it centers on death. We feel it when someone gets a dire diagnosis, or when we have the normal thought that we lose a parent someday. If you notice, like I said, grief, the topic of grief has always been based around death. Yeah, and we as Syngrity are trying to talk about grief and mental health without the death coming into the picture. Anticipatory grief is also more broadly imagined futures. There is a storm coming. There's something bad out there. With a virus, this kind of grief is so confusing for people. Our primitive mind knows something bad is happening, but you can't see it. You can't foretell it. This breaks our sense of safety. We are feeling that loss of safety. I don't think we have collectively lost our sense of general safety like this. Individually or as smaller groups, people have felt this. But altogether, this is new. We are grieving on a micro and a macro level. And this is what David Icessler says in that HBR, the Harvard Business Review article, which has been shared by my colleague Vipin. All right. So I'm going to move on. So now I have a question for all of you. After this slide, your productivity, quality of work, and peace of mind is dependent on what stage you may be on. Are you at the stage of denial? Are you in the stage of anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, or meaning? So just take 10 seconds of silence, and just what is the intuitively coming to your head? Just hold that thought. What level of these 6 stages that you might be on? And you can actually answer this question over here. So please go onto your phones and tell us, what stage are you on? Six people, 7 people in acceptance, 8, 9. That's so lovely to see. One person said he's already finding meaning. 14 people are saying acceptance. 15, 16. One person is still bargaining. 3 people in the stage of meaning. Lovely. One person is pissed off at the moment. Understandably so. Understandably so. 24 people in acceptance, 3 in meaning, 1 in denial, 1 in anger, 1 in bargaining. Anyone who's left to please enter, because once I'm able to move the slide, yeah, then you will not be able to answer the question on the slide. Great, great, great. So I'm going to move on. So, like I told you at the beginning of the webinar, of the presentation, that I spoke to a few people. I've spoken to about 180 to 200 people about what are the good things, what are the bad things, what's happening, what are they feeling. And I want to share some of the common threads. You obviously know about it, you know. Yeah, so I just want to share it. Yeah, it's about really bringing the beauty of life forward during this crisis as a community, as a tribe, yeah, as one populace. The air is clean, people. The air is clean. Yeah, if you look at Guwahati, the air is clean. The AQI today in Delhi was about 101, for people who don't live in Delhi, 101 might be unhealthy for a few groups, but we live in a space of 400, 500, 999, 1200, 1500. So 101 is great. These figures are from the last 3 days. Yeah, look at Jaipur, look at Bombay. Yeah, I'm sure social media, there's been so much of information, drone photographs of drone videos, and there's so much of information going on social media. Yeah, but it is lovely. I'm sitting in Delhi right now, and I can see trees up to 100 meters away. And honestly, that there's always a little haze which comes in front of the screen, in front of your eyes on usual days. Yeah, so this is some great stuff which is happening. The air is cleaner. I remember last year, the director at AIMS, at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and the year before that had said that if you want your children to live, take them out of Delhi. Yeah, move them out of Delhi. Well, it's nature's beautiful way of telling us to shut up, stay at home, while nature rectifies herself, while the universe rectifies herself. Yeah. Now, these are some of the birds that you can see from my house. Yeah, sitting over here. I'm still sad that I can't see the sparrow. You can see the black drongo, you can see the pigeons, you can see the common myna, you can see the paria kites, you can see the doves, you can see the rose-ringed parrots, you can see the Indian roller, you can see quails. Once in a while, I can see a shikra, which happens. So very quickly, just press the heart button if you have also been spotting birds that you don't get to spot usually. Yeah, so there'll be a heart button. Press the heart button to say that you've been noticing birds that usually do not, you don't get to see these birds. Lovely, lovely. There are 12 people, 15 people who are saying, 13 people who are saying they are noticing. And there was a time one would say, oh, there's this bird which keeps making a lot of noise. Yeah, I look forward to waking up. First thing I do when I wake up, I go out, sit in my balcony, and there's this entire cacophony, this dialogue, this chatting of birds which is happening, and I am listening. So the question is, are you listening as well? Yeah. Moving on. We've seen so many videos, so many photographs, so many videos. The animals are out. It's almost like they're reclaiming the space. People are inside, the animals are outside. I'm sure the memes that have gone around town with the animals out and the humans in is really, they're really funny. The Nilgais are out, the elephants are out in Dehradun. 150 kilometers from Bombay, you could spot whales. You have the civet cat, which is here. You can, it's happening everywhere. I'm sure the animals are also feeling, oh, where are these humans? Where are these humans? Yeah. So I actually spotted a Nilgai, a blue bull, about 4 days back. So that was really, really nice. I was going to check my guards. I was entering from Delhi to Gurgaon, and there is one road which is rather empty, and I spotted a Nilgai, and that was fantastic. That was fantastic. Yeah. So moving on. Please press the heart if you love the empty roads. If you love the empty roads, if you love, yeah, it's such a pleasure. And a lot of you might not be lucky enough to actually experience the empty roads because of the tie down. Because I come under essential services by running a security organization, I get to experience the road, and it's uncanny, it's surreal, almost scary, but it is fascinating. It is fascinating just to see how roads are empty, how people are, there are no people. There are no cars, there's no disturbance, there's no pollution. And it's such a fantastic space to be in. Yeah. The skies are clear, the skies are beautiful and clear. And there is one of my friends who is from Guwahati, Badhwar, runs a fantastic company called White Wing Journeys. He clicked this photograph on the 7th when the super pink moon happened, yeah, of the moon. Usually you will not be able to get this kind of clarity when there is pollution. By the way, this, for the ones who are interested in for photography buffs, this photograph was clicked on a 400-600 lens. Yeah, yeah. I just quite love this photograph. So great, great. Moving on. Thank you so much for all the love. Yeah, I can see all the hearts going. Yeah, thank you. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about ourselves. Let's talk about what is it that kind of gets us, what is it that we are experiencing. So I have a few questions for you. So the next few slides are going to be a few questions. So please get ready on your phones. Once again, you know, if you've not logged in to your phone, go to menti.com, menti.com, and use the code 777692. Yeah. How has the lockdown impacted your life? You have space for 250 characters. Please write down your answers. How has the lockdown impacted your life? While I take a sip of my coffee. Cheers. So for those of you who, yeah, when you enter your answers on menti.com, the answers will reflect on the presentation, which are actually going, which you will be seeing on your Zoom screen. There's one person who says, no routine, prioritization gone for a toss. Another person, responsibilities have changed. Yes, they have. Yeah. Brought me closer to my passion, started playing the guitar again. That is so awesome. Income stream has stopped, but on the flip side, I found love. We like to actually hear this story. Dealing with much more negativity now, brought me closer to my passion. No routine, it has made my life more peaceful, and I'm enjoying the slowed down pace of life. Work has suffered, things are in a tizzy. Working from home has become chaotic. I feel stuck and unproductive. Sometimes it's frustrating, but accepting the situation is the way forward. Stay positive, stay indoors. Taught that life goes on. I actually realize that lots of us can work out of home. I feel a lot more relaxed these days and a lot more stressed. I feel stuck and productive. Sometimes it's frustrating, but accepting the situation is the way forward. Stay positive, stay indoors. It's made me lazy. Somebody has gotten lazy, but have made me realize the importance of relationships, and they discover themselves. You're enjoying the break. People are finding it good to be home. So clearly there is, there are people who are in the space of acceptance. There are people in the space of meaning. There's people in the space of bargaining. And there are some people who are not being able to get there. So, while there's going to be a slide going on later, which talks about what to do, but please, ladies and gentlemen, I have a sincere request. If you are not doing well, reach out to people. You will be surprised how people are eager to help, how people are willing to come forward, willing to help each other, willing to give each other a patient hearing. In actually today's times, there is nothing more that you can expect. I found something very interesting. I found that I can talk to you today without a vested interest. The vested interest is, I'm talking about, usually the vested interest is, okay, I'm talking to you. So what am I getting at the back? What am I getting in return? Am I getting money? Am I getting business? So on and so forth. Yeah, for me to run to different offices and saying, hey, you know, this is what we offer. All that has stopped. I actually do not have any other vested interest. Today, I genuinely, one of the things about this lockdown is that it's giving me time to genuinely connect with people. Yeah, it's getting me to connect with another human being. Somebody says I become more busier. There's no lean time for me being the head of HR. I'm busy strategizing, but I'm loving it. I see my domestic helps in a different way. Yes, absolutely. I have a live-in domestic help who I banned for the last 3 years to cook. Yeah, and today he's churning out the most fantastic dal, chawal, and sabji, and better than what my cook does, who's not obviously coming up. Yeah, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. So at a definition level, physical distancing and social distancing is, you know, almost considered the same. Yeah, but we also realize that there's an impact of words on a person's psyche. Whenever, you know, so physical distancing essentially means that you are physically staying away from somebody, but social distancing has a bit of a confusing connotation, because social distancing also means that you're shutting down. And this is not the time to shut down. This is the time to actually open up to ourselves in this virtual community and this virtual tribe that we are a part of. And it's really, really important to understand that, yes, we need physical distancing, but this is the time when we need each other. We need human compassion. We need human bonhomie. We need human love and affection from each other. So please, if you are socially distancing yourself, and you have all the best reasons to socially distance yourself. You know, if you go back to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, you could be in a stage of anger or denial, or another stage where you don't want to interact with people. Once again, please, there is no pressure on you, but you must know that when you are ready to start interacting with the world, yeah, all of us are going to be, all of us are there. You just have to reach out. Just ask. I have noticed something so beautiful in the last few months. Ask and you shall receive. Always ask and you shall receive. Yeah. So 15 people have said they're physically distancing. 7 people have said both. And 2 people have said social distancing. Okay, is there anyone left who's not entered? Please enter your answers before we move on. So at this point, I'd like to tell you what we are doing with all this data that we're collecting with Mentimeter. My colleague, my young colleague Vipin, is a clinical psychologist, and he's going to share a series of links about mental health illness that we've shared, that we've been writing on for the last 6 months, and we are open to, so we want to collect this data, we want to use this data. Yeah, like I said, it's completely anonymous. Your names don't come in anywhere, and we want to be able to share, you know, we want to be able to collect this data and to be able to help us write a little bit more. I think one of the things that I do when I'm stressed is I write. So I've been writing my fingers off for the last 10 days. And we'll share some of the links that we will see. All right. So moving on. How are you utilizing the time at home? You can choose up to 5 options on this. What are you doing? How are you utilizing the time at home? Go on to menti.com and use the code 777-692 to be able to answer. Okay. 3 people said old flings coming back into our virtual life. That's so lovely. Well, I don't know if it's lovely. So a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people are spending valuable time with their families. Yeah. 5 people have started, 5 entries say they've started a new hobby. Rekindling old hobbies is happening. A lot of social media. Please understand, social media is one of the largest contributors to mental health or adverse mental health. Yeah, please be very, very careful. Yeah, online movies and series. Yeah, Netflix is killing it. Prime Videos is killing it. They're making a lot of money on this. A lot of people are reading. I spend a lot of time alone by myself, and that also gives me a lot of time to write and to think and to contemplate. And once in a while, I really enjoy vegetating, just sitting and doing jack. Yeah, so please, you know, 6 people said they're vegetating. I hear you. I hear you. Please take some time off. Sometimes just do nothing. 17 people said exercising, very, very important. The ones who are not, yeah, and let me tell you, I've been a big guy my entire life. I was 11 pounds when I was born, and when I realized what that meant, I actually thanked my mother, which was about 10 years back, and I looked at her and said, Mate, thank you so much for, for carrying me. But I also understand that, for all of us who are above the age of 35, or our bodies start functioning in it's the law of diminishing returns which comes into place. I've been a martial artist for 25 years of my life as a heavyweight martial artist, and I realized that I need to carry on practicing even now to keep my body fit, to keep my mind alert, so to keep my heart ticking. Really, really important to keep your heart ticking. Yeah, so please exercise. A little walk, a little push up here, there. Try it. Don't hurt yourself. Okay. So moving on. I really feel we wrote a blog a few days back called "We Have Become Human Again." Yeah. And this is what my belief is. And I'm really an idealistic person where we say, that we might be really becoming human again. So if you agree with, that we have become human again, please click on the heart button on the Menti screen. Let us see. Yeah. So a lot of people agree that we become human again. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So now what? What happens now? So I've been talking to a lot of people, and uh, everyone has acknowledged that everyone is relaxed. They're staying inside. They're practicing physical distancing with inclusion. Um, People are noticing the difference in the world around ourselves without ourselves. That's really ironical. It's almost like, um, you know, I, it's like a slap on our faces at one level also, because the only way I can enjoy nature, is by stepping away from it. And it's sad, it's ironical, it's I don't know, I don't actually have the right word for it, but I realized that the best way I can appreciate nature around me is by staying away. And that gets me thinking, should get you thinking as well. Sometimes you also realize that we might be at the bottom of the food chain. One virus, one microscopic virus has ensured the whole world has stayed inside the house. Yeah, are we really at the top of the food chain? Because I kind of somewhere, while I was writing that blog on We Have Become Human Again, this thought came into my head that it's like the Midas's touch, you know, Midas, this king, whatever the Midas touch turned into gold and got greedy and greedy and greedy. And then one day he touches his daughter and then she turns into gold. And that is what we've done, this little view of, you know, always functioning in a space of scarcity. Yeah. And not in the space of abundance, but this functioning in the space of scarcity, we've just wanted to turn everything to gold. And now that gold is useless. Yeah, we are sitting at home, yeah, because one virus pushed us in, because we pushed our luck with nature, I feel. Yeah, seeing that capitalism could only get us this far, you know, you can, like I said in the beginning of the thing, beginning of the presentation, you know, money, money, money. And yes, money is important. Money is not the end, but the means to an end. But this whole attitude of just trying to obtain can only get us this far. And eventually it really comes down to basic needs. What do you want? Yeah, you want your roti, kapra, makan, yeah, and pyar. And that is what we essentially live for, right? We live for a roof over our head, for food to eat, clothes to wear, and basic, and love and affection and acceptance from people. Yeah. So this is, you know, this is the space that we are all in. Yeah. Now the question is, will I go back to my old ways? So please answer this question. Will I go back to my old ways? And I try to give funny options. So yeah, so please answer that question. Will I go back to my old ways? Because the temptations are going to be a lot. There will be a lot of temptations because we are all creatures of habit. We are all creatures of habit. Yeah, you see 12 people, maybe 10 people, obviously no, 3 people says, obviously yes. And again, no judgment, no, yeah, it's really whatever is functioning for us. This is what comes intuitively to us. Yeah, and this is what we want to be able to gauge. Yeah, what is in it for us going forward. I was having a discussion with a friend who called up a little while back, and it was one of those philosophical discussions we are having. I love the Urdu word for philosophy, which is falsafa, something that my grandfather taught me years back. So, hum falsafa ki baatein kar rahe the, and I think one of the things I said that this might be great time for us to actually teach our children the lessons out of this struggle that all of us are going through. Yeah, and what is the way forward? Because I really feel, and I know that YI Young Indians really resonates with this fact that we have to create India for the future. We have to create a world for the future. We have to be able to come into a space of into a space of sharing and community and a tribe, and in a space of giving with each other. And this might be a great time to really teach our children about integrity, about humility, about honesty, and gratitude. So please, I requested you at the beginning of the presentation that please thank your spouses. Yeah, please thank the people at home, and yeah, please thank each other, because appreciation and gratitude is the way ahead, or are the ways ahead. Yeah, moving on. Like I said, temptations could be many because we're all creatures of habits. You know, habits restrict learning, growth, change. it's so easy. As soon as the lockdown is over, we start going back to our old ways, or we go back to whatever is whatever was a comfort zone. But please understand, this is no longer going to be the world which was there a month and a half back. There will be a lot of shift, and nature changes. Nature is constantly moving. The earth is constantly moving. Everything inside our bodies are constantly moving. So should we. That's really, really important, that we should imbibe this whole space of moving our mental canvas. It's really, really important to be able to move our own mental canvas and to be able to work in a space of gratitude, of harmony, of love and affection. And that's not going to take your commercial problems away. That will not take your economic problems away. That will just help you in being able to deal with all the ruckus which is happening around us. It'll just help us to deal with it in a better way. So very important, what kind of temptations could take you back to the old self? So you will have, I think you have 25 characters. Yeah, so please write down what kind of temptations could take you back to the old self. For me, the temptation could be freedom. Yeah, or this, I love to travel. So, that could be a temptation. I just need to hold my horses, and I just need to, I just need to see how can I function in a space. Somebody said food, love for travel, lots of travel happening, exercising. Somebody's girlfriend is going to ensure that the person runs out of home. Being able to drive, friends, lots of travel, food. So if somebody has clicked on food, if 3-4 people click on food, food shows up as bigger. Yeah. What else? Friends, being free, paisa. पैसा मत बोलो, रुपया बोलो, पैसे का कोई वैल्यू नहीं अभी. So adventure, business, lots of answers. Please enter. Yeah, if you left out, please enter. Let's read some more. Old friends, sense of normalcy, the worldly things, alcohol. Yes, there's so many memes going around about alcohol, and there's a dearth of alcohol, and people are complaining as to why is alcohol not put as an essential service. Yeah. I see some people have still not been able to answer the questions, so please answer your questions before I move on. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to move on in the next 4, 3, 2, 1. So what can you do? One of the things, like I said, a lot of people are going through a lot of anxiety. A lot of people are going through a lot of mental stress. Please, and a lot of people have stopped talking. The same thing happened to me as well. For the first 2-3 days, I was in a flap in my head because I didn't understand what was happening. So I went completely quiet, and you would have noticed, so would you have. So press the thumbs up button. Press the thumbs up button if you also were at a loss of words in the few initial days. Yes, it's happening to all of us. It happened to all of us. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what's going on. Yeah. So please speak your mind. It's very, very important for you to be able to speak your mind. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen, for very clear communication. This is not the time it's not Superman, it's not kryptonite. This is the time to communicate. This is the time to really talk your mind. So talk to your, if you're a business owner, talk to your employees, let them know what's happening. If you're at home, talk to your children, talk to your spouse, talk to your aging parents. Yeah, talk to people. It's very, very important for people to talk. Also, and I say talk to your parents because, you know, our generation of our parents and grandparents, these guys are big, like strong individuals, you know. And one of the things that they did not do was really talk to people, because everything was contained in their inside. And, you know, the men never spoke because the men are supposed to be in control and all that stuff. And, you know, and eventually what happens is a breakdown, and we don't want to get there. Yeah, seek help. Please don't be afraid. We're in this together. It's really, really important to understand that if you are stuck, seek help. Very, very important. My colleague Vipin is a clinical psychologist. So what we'd like you to do, if you need help, if you need to talk, if you need to vent, yeah, just send us a message. Yeah, write to us, and we'll get back to you. We'll try to make, you know, we'll try to make tools more interactive so that you can actually really speak your mind and seek help if you are not doing too well. Very important. Might seem like a bit of a silly exercise, but, you know, this too shall pass. It always does. It always does. Yeah, and we have come out of we've come out of centuries of colonialism. We have survived centuries of colonialism. We have survived pandemics. We have survived recessions. This too shall pass. Yeah, very, very important. This is a very interesting point. You know, a lot of us try to control life around us. Amit Agrawal, may I kind of please request you to put your microphone on mute? Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate that. Yeah. So talking about area of influence versus areas of control, there are some spaces which we can influence. Yeah. Now you have to figure out what are the spaces that you can directly influence. And you have to figure out what are the areas that you can directly control. Yeah. And the ones that you can influence and the ones that you can control, there is no point being stressed out about it. So, you know, because stress also happens at a very, it happens collectively. Everything just comes one at a time. And one exercise that I find very useful is to write stuff down. So I would take a piece of paper and I would write stuff down. I usually take a piece of paper and divide it into two halves and say, what can I influence and what can I control? What I can't influence and what I can't control, I have to remove that from my notes and as well as from my mind. So this is something that I find as a very powerful exercise in positive psychology as well, is to be able to address what you can and what immediately or what instantly comes under your area of influence and area of control. What you can't, there's no point worrying about that. Very important. I said, you know, please go to your spouses, and it's lovely to be able to function in a space of gratitude. There was a formula I came up with almost 12 years back in saying, you know, freedom is equal to gratitude plus forgiveness. Right now, you're not, you know, there is a lot more time that you have on your hands. This might be a time for you to actually sit down and express gratitude to friends, to family, to people who harmed you, to people who have not been kind to you. Because, you know, in spite of all the unkindness and the anger, yeah, people are, well, you know, you're still sitting here, you're attending my webinar, and the person who's been unkind to you is still watching television somewhere. So everyone has survived. I think it is a lovely time to be in a space of gratitude and also to be in a space of forgiveness. It's really, really important. You know, somebody asked me a long time back, about 2-3 years back, and saying, what is your ambition in life? And that person was from the media, and they were expecting some fancy answer. And I just had a very simple answer, that by the end of my life thread, which is usually have a lot of knots, you know, it's very easy to build knots with people. Yeah, but to have the ability to untie these knots. Yeah, so that by the time it's time for me to shut my eyes, at least my life thread is as knotless as possible. Yeah, so that is why it's important to forgive. I remember 16 years back, there's a restaurant in Delhi, an outdoor, sit-out restaurant, and I was rude to the owner of this restaurant. And usually I would never, one would never really bother about. So I shouted at this owner because my parents were there and they were, they didn't bring the food and so blah blah blah. It was my ego which kind of came in between. And I met this person about 2 years back, and he'd forgotten about it. And I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry, because it stayed in my head. So if you have intentionally hurt somebody and you still remember it, most importantly, if you still remember it, this might be the time to write a little note. This might be a time to say, I'm really sorry, I screwed up. Yeah, does not mean that you have to become chuddy buddies again. It does not mean that you have to sit in each other's laps again, but you can just genuinely function in a nice space of gratitude and forgiveness. Please take a break. Yeah, take a break from thinking too much, take a break from stressing too much, take a break from yourself. Very important. Take a break from your own mind. Yeah, I'm a very strong believer of the fact that the mind plays games with us. Yeah, nothing stops you, ladies and gentlemen, to play games back with the mind. Yeah, so it's very, very important for you to understand. Please take a break from your own mind. Yeah, remember the good that has come out of the lockdown. Remember that beautiful moon photograph. Remember the beautiful, these are memories that we attach to, and these are ways in which neurons can attach to each other and create memories. So please create memories of abundance, not of scarcity. Yeah, a lot of times we hold on to all the sorrow, we hold on to all the sadness, we hold on to all the bad which has come out. This might be a time to really hold on to the good. Sorry, I missed out on this. It's a great opportunity to learn, pick up skills. YI Delhi, on the YI Delhi group, I just noticed somebody had put up courses, Harvard courses, free of cost. I already enrolled myself for one. This is a great time to learn. So please pick up skills. There's udemy.com. The courses which sell for 12,000 rupees are selling for 400 rupees. So please take advantage. This is a great opportunity to learn. Please pick up skills. Yeah. I always, in all my workshops, in all my talks, I always talk about this. So the way we do this is, may I request you to kindly please fold your hands. Yeah. And let's, at a count of 3, let's read this out together. Abundance, 1, 2, 3. Abundance in the heart will result in abundance outside. Scarcity in the heart will result in scarcity outside. Yeah. If we are functioning in a space of abundance in our heart, the same abundance is going to come out. Yeah. And you will be able to see a more abundant world. Scarcity, if you're functioning in a space of scarcity, in a space of recession, that is what you will see. So you make your own world, you make your own reality. So it is up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to function in a space of abundance. So if this resonates with you, please click on the heart button. Yeah, let us know what you feel. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So moving on. There is something that there's something that a friend of mine, his name is Nitya Shanti. Nitya Shanti was a forest monk following the Theravada tradition in Buddhism. He gave up his monkhood about 10 years back, 12 years back. And today he's a speaker, and he introduced a very beautiful concept called the 5-minute miracle. So may I request you to kindly, once again, fold your hands with me. Yeah, you're folding your hands so that these two energy centers in your body kind of come in together, and it creates a circuit in your body. And we will, at a count of 3, we will say it out loudly. So don't worry if your children or your spouse or your parents or somebody sitting there, just make sure that your ears hear your own words. So at a count of 1, 2, 3, we say this out together. So 1, 2, 3. The highest in me bows to the highest in you, and anything that I have said or done that may have hurt you, I ask for your forgiveness. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Actually, I'm inclined to do it one more time. So let's do it one more time at the count of 1, 2, 3. Let's do this together. 1, 2, 3. The highest in me bows to the highest in you, and anything that I've said or done that may have hurt you, I ask for your forgiveness. And so it is, so it is, so it is. Yeah. So this is something that Nitya Shanti taught me, and I've been using this for years, and I'm extremely grateful to him for the same. Yeah. So please press the heart button if this resonates with you. So when you go up to your spouses, when you go up to your, for people that you live with, you take for granted, just fold your hand. And here, what does this mean? The highest in me, you're not talking about your Atma, you're talking about your Param Atma, you're talking about the highest in you. Yeah, so it's the highest in you is void of ego, the highest in you is void of ahankar. Yeah, because the highest in you is the space of the Param Atma. Yeah, so the highest in me bows to the highest in you, and anything that I might have said or done that may have hurt you, I ask for your forgiveness, and so it is, so it is, so it is. All right, so moving on. Now, so once this is over, what do you commit to? Please answer that question. What is it that you commit to? You commit to gratitude, forgiving. That's so lovely. Growing vegetables, very important, very important. Discipline, making a change around yourself. Nature, simplicity. That's so lovely. That's so lovely. Please put in your answers. Real consciousness, reducing my extra expenses, keeping nature alive, health, physical, financial, work more harder, self-actualization, positivity, simplicity, staying focused. That's lovely. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is your commitment. This is, this out of this entire thing, out of the entire discussion, there could be one takeaway. And please ensure whatever that takeaway is, you keep it and you work on it with dedication, with conviction, because it's just that one shift. that one shift in consciousness, which is going to make a huge difference. Yeah, an example, I'm going to show it against my shirt. Yeah, so it's like this. If you can see this, when you lift a piece of your cloth, yeah, when one person rises in consciousness, everyone around also rises. So please understand, yeah, when you rise in consciousness, when you rise in awareness, people will rise around you. And that is very, very important. To be able to forgive, I can't thank you. I can't even thank you enough for allowing yourself to being able to forgive. Yeah, one of the biggest burdens and monkeys that we carry on our backs is not being able to forgive. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the Q&A session. So if you have more questions, you can put it up. I will try to answer these questions that you might have. If you have any questions, please put them up. Somebody says common sparrow has long gone extinct due to the microwave, the towers. Will we get them back? Well, that's a big question, and that is where 5G is being blamed. There are some internet towers are being blamed. There are a lot of residential complexes in Delhi, I know, where they've refused the service providers like Airtel or ACT or other Idea to stop putting towers over there. So we are hoping that once it needs a huge shift. It needs a huge shift, and I miss the common sparrow as well. So I'm going to mark this as answered. Do you think we should just sit back and relax during these times? Well, one of the things, like I said, was that please, yes, sit back, relax, but this is also the time to really rethink and recreate strategies the way you are, the way you want to function. This is, also realize that this is time that we have for ourselves after a very long time. And I don't know when was the last time that you were able to really get this time to yourself. But so please enjoy this time. And this is the time to reflect. This is the time to question or to answer your own questions. This is the time to really function and rethink. Yeah, and that is what I personally feel. This is not a holiday. A lot of people have been thinking that this is a holiday or hum 3 mahine ki chutti pe hain. No, this is not. This is not a holiday at all. Yeah, this is the time to really recalibrate, bring things together. How much is the chance that after COVID-19 is resolved, the humans will be under the soya spell? Yeah, I'm going to ask Vipin to just do a quick research on what is the soya spell. Yeah, because I'm not entirely aware. But do you think China already has the vaccine for COVID-19 since so suddenly they mastered it? I'm no authority. I'm not a political strategist. Yeah, but यहाँ दाल में कुछ काला नहीं है, थोड़ी सी दाल ही काली है. So I will reserve my comments on this, and I will also not say that I will not mark this question as answered. Do you not think when we get back to work, we've been lost much of our work edge? Not at all. Please understand that this is not time of off work. You are still working. Yeah. And the industry, the entire world, the entire corporate India, the entire world really recognizes that life is different now. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily going to go back to those good old days. there will be a shift in our attitudes, there will be a shift in our work, there will be a shift in our the way we receive information, the way we share information, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we don't know what the soya spell is, so I'm not qualified to answer this question. How to maintain mental health during this time? We spoke about the things that you can do during, so please talk, please call up people. Like I said, we are open to discussion. So if there is something that bothers you, please call us up, please write to us. You can write to Vipin, VIPIN at syngrity.com. We've already on the Zoom chat, Vipin would have entered his email ID. Please write to us, tell us what is bothering you. We'll fix up time, we'll give you a little bit of time, come and talk to us. But also be open to people around you to be able to reach out. There'll be some things which Vipin will be able to answer, there'll be some things which I will be able to answer, and there's some things that only your loved ones will be able to answer. Yeah, so, and one of the things is, yes, please speak, please take a break. Yeah, and if you are anxious, if you are, there are a couple of grounding exercises that I can teach you. So one of the things, if you feel you're having let's say an anxiety attack or a panic attack or something like that, I think one wonderful grounding exercise is to immediately stand straight, feet well planted on the ground, and immediately look for 5 things around you. One which talks about sight, one which talks about hearing, one which talks about touch, one which talks about smell, and one which talks about taste. And it could essentially be just a memory. So immediately ground yourself, find all your 5 senses, and relate one sense to one thing. And that is a very, very powerful grounding exercise. Yeah, it's very effective. I've tried it for years. It works brilliantly. Clinical psychology, other psychologists also talk about this grounding exercise. Yeah. The problem here is that the 5 stages are on a cycle. Each day we have to deal with new news, so that these stages are a daily process now. The uncertainty makes it a regular exercise now for us. Yes, like I said, these are tough times. That is why news is coming out. News is new every day. Everything it's all haphazard. So yes, you will go through all the 6 cycles over and over again, but you also will be able to find your sense of where, find your sense of which is your comfort zone. So are you at the bargaining stage? Are you at the acceptance stage? Are you at the meaning stage? This answer. Just give me a moment. We have time for one or 2 questions. Do you think more and more an online thing will affect a normal life after lockdown ends? I don't understand that question entirely, but I think you're talking about, is there going to be more online stuff? Yes, there will be. Face-to-face interactions will reduce, and yeah, it's going to be there is going to be a shift for sure. You feel you should know your neighbors more? Yes, know thy neighbor for sure. Okay, so this is a time that we have, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a question and that I've not been able to answer, you can write to us. It's Vikram at syngrity.com, and I'm going to come back to the I'm going to come back to the Zoom. Yeah, so it's been fantastic. If you have any questions that you want to ask now, you could do that. Put that in your chat, and we should be able to. I can attempt to answer one or two more questions. But like I said, you can write to us as well. I am mentioning my email ID. It's vikram@syngrity.com. You can write to vipin@syngrity.com. Yeah. And yeah. So any questions that you might have, please ask your questions. If not, yeah, thank you so much for really spending your afternoon listening to some thoughts. It's something that we really enjoy doing. We really like talking to all of you. So it's
guys, you can unmute yourselves if you want to ask questions.
Hello.
Yeah,
Maybe a vote of thanks for Vikram.
I think Farah has a question, Sandeep bhai.
Even Saurav has a question. He says, do you think it will be easy to make employees get back to work? And can you share some advice on that? I think yes, people are going to be back to work. You know, and I'm not talking about it from the falsafa perspective, but I'm saying, listen, money is going to get over. People need a job. People need meaning. They will come back. You know, there will be, but please recognize that the ways of working are going to be different from now on. So, you know, whatever can be done in a virtual world should be done in the virtual world. Yeah, even once the lockdown is over on May 3rd, yeah, we should actually not just come out in hordes. We should, you know, really slow down because we still don't know how this virus functions. Yeah. Sorry, somebody else had a question.
Yes. Hi, Vikram.
Hi.
So my name is Farah. Actually, I'm not a member of YI, but I've joined in. It was really an insightful. I'm actually based out of Dubai. So just wanted to share my experiences from here as well. And yeah, my question was, I wanted to know what book you are reading at this moment, basically.
Sorry, could you ask that question again?
What books are you reading, or what books would you suggest to read during this lockdown?
Very interesting question because somebody asked me this question yesterday. Okay.
Apart from the one you have suggested, that Death and Dying, that is anywhere, sure, I'm getting that. Apart from that, what other books would you suggest?
So David Kessler's The Sixth Stage of Grief is a very nice book. I'm going to write down there is one of my favorite authors is a lady called Byron Katie, and she has written a book called Loving What Is. I'm just putting that in the chat. Yeah. There's a book called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by a guy called Dan Millman. Dan Millman was an American gold medalist gymnast, represented the US. He became a gold medalist gymnast after smashing his leg into 100 pieces. And this is a real story. This book really changed my life. It's a very easy read. It took me about 24 hours non-stop reading, and I read this book. Yeah. This is a good book to start off with. Loving What Is. Byron Katie's work is called The Work, and essentially she talks about 4 questions and 1 turnaround question. So whenever you have a problem, you're conflicting with something, there is a turnaround, and she talks about that. It's a case study kind of a book, and it really changed my perspectives.
Awesome, that's lovely. I'm sure gonna get all these, but the session was really insightful.
Thank you so much.